All right, welcome back, everybody. And again, fair warning, I'm going to share my screen here, which is going to also give you time to um, either put your headphones in, mute this, pause this, go to a room where you're not going to be offended or your kids aren't going to hear the title of the series. And I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. I want to encourage you to go look at the first video series, number 10 and number 9, where I summarize the rationale for my title here. And there is rationale behind it, right? And this is the top 10 reasons I'm a high-class LinkedIn hoe. And I'm not going to regurgitate it here. I'm going to try not to say the title, out loud in case there are younger ears that you don't want hearing this. But we all know what the terminology means, right? And in this case, it's basically summarizing why I'm basically a big fan of LinkedIn and why I have so many different connections, and the benefit behind it, but also just LinkedIn in itself in terms of the value that brings. So go back and listen to the first one. And then again, if you can give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. That's also helpful to me. And then click the alert button. And then feel free to share this video series with anybody that you might find it may benefit. So I'll give you a brief recap of number 10 and number 5 before we jump in to 8 and 7. All right. LinkedIn offers a great tool for research. So if you are trying to get a job at a company and want to understand and be able to better speak to what that company is doing and where they're going, you can typically follow them on LinkedIn and then also do a little bit of research. They'll typically put information out, press releases, all kinds of information that's out there. And typically they also have groups or alumni groups, and you can get a better idea in terms of what's going on. And some people just are fans of company and they'll discuss a lot of things on LinkedIn. And sometimes they just have fan group or affinity groups out there for various companies. So, or different research or different verticals or different interests that are out there. So it's a great tool for research in terms of you potentially getting a job, and then also if you're a company in terms of and you want to sell to that company or offer a product to them or that same audience, it's a great way for you to kind of see what's going on and happening there. Number 9, recruiters use this as a primary recruiting and hiring tool. And so when I talk about being a high-class LinkedIn hoe, basically it means that I have a ton of connections. I mentioned in my first video that I probably have 10,000 plus direct connections. And then with all the other groups that I manage there, I'm probably pushing upwards of, I don't know, 11, 12,000. I don't have the count. I'm at that tipping point where it just keeps growing. And it's not even really that important, but where it is important is that if you're trying to get a job, I have my current position from a LinkedIn ping, and I get pinged all the time because I have so many people, and I do a pretty good job of vetting out my history and my job descriptions in terms of all the different tools that I've used, all the different processes and things. I do pretty good at getting searched. And when I click on my profile to see who's searched me on a weekly basis, it's between 100 and 200 searches that I come in, and I typically get a good handful of instant messages from recruiters saying, hey, are you interested, from a variety of different experiences that I've had in the past. So again, that's the primary reason that I have this. And the more searchable you are, the better. And the more connections that you have with those recruiters, also the higher up on that list you're probably going to appear if you have the right keywords listed on your profile as well. So again, something else to think about. And again, I do not just recommend people to other people just because we're connections, right? And I typically won't. I won't give you a job recommendation, won't give you an acknowledgement of any type if we've never worked together or don't have any experience. Number 8, hiring managers use LinkedIn to confirm resumes during interviews. A lot of times what will happen, a recruiter will work with a potential candidate and send it over to the hiring managers and their teams, and we'll look at those. And then we'll also do a LinkedIn search just to kind of see if the resume hasn't just been tweaked enough to fit the job description to get our attention, right? And if the resume doesn't align with the LinkedIn profile that's there, that's typically going to be a little bit of a problem, right? I don't like dishonesty. Number 1, when I'm hiring people, I want people to work for me that have integrity. And number 2, it's telling me that there's a little bit of desperation either between the recruiter or that person. So we do it. We'll do that search, and we'll try and make sure that there's not something that's completely different, or that somebody has some experience but they're trying to get a new position as a research business analyst for a particular company, but have never done anything like that, right? And we'll be able to see that. So it's important for you that if you're not on LinkedIn, you need to get on LinkedIn. If you have a small business or if you're trying to get hired, I know there's other tools out there, Indeed, Monster, and those are all great. And I have resumes on all of those tools as well. But LinkedIn is by far the best tool for networking, from a social media standpoint. And it's not like the, Facebook or Instagram or, TikTok or anything like that. It's really business centric and focused. So you have to be on LinkedIn. If you have a small business or if you're trying to get a job, you have to be on LinkedIn. Number 7, LinkedIn is also a very effective way to generate warm leads. And what I mean by that, and again, I accept every invitation, and it's because of the searchability, right? But it's also, if you're a small business owner or if you're seeking a job, right, and you want to be that aggressive, if you're connected to me and I've had any kind of, past relationship in person or even working relationship where I have some knowledge of your, character, your work ethic and what you've done, chances are that you can ping me, even though it may have been brief, but it's memorable enough. And if you have a small business that you're starting, you can say, hey, Paul, I want to be introduced to so-and-so. I see there, a first connection with you on LinkedIn. I'm starting this type of business. I think it's time. Would you take a look at it? Give me any feedback? And then secondly, would you make that introduction? Chances are I will make the introduction, depending on, obviously if I have good opinions of them. If I don't, then I'm going to tell them no straight up. But if I do that, right, and I feel comfortable and there's enough description in there, I'll ping that first connection, and I may or may not know them, but I'll still reach out and try and make it happen and say, hey, I know Susie from this prior, work engagement. She did quality work then, started a new company and asked me to introduce you. I think it'd be what she's doing, I think is unique and maybe worth your time just to have a conversation. And I'll initiate that. Now, whether that person, accepts my introduction or not, and this is how LinkedIn works, right? They don't have to, but I'll, basically initiate an introduction, and then that person that's my first connection can either accept it or not. But again, it's a great way to generate warm leads, and it's better than you trying to cold call them, without that introduction as well. So it's one step closer, and it's better than, doing a cold introduction or just cold calling. So I'm going to stop sharing there. And we'll cover obviously number 6 and 5 on the next video. And again, do me a favor if you have not already and find value in any of the things that I'm sharing with you all, hit the subscribe button, click the thumbs up, and hit the alert button, and we'll be back to cover number 6 and 5 in the next video.